656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
You can spend a lot of restless nights trying to figure out how you're going to make all those credit card payments. Why not consolidate all your debt into one manageable payment? My friends at Homestead Financial Mortgage can help with a cash-out refinance. Contact them today. Take the first step in regaining your financial freedom. Use my website, larry.homesteadfinancial.com. Take charge of your financial future. Go to my website, larry.homesteadfinancial.com.
Time now for the O'Reilly Update message of the day. On this Wednesday, we are now witnessing the rise of disorder in America, and it's hurting every single one of us. Unchecked immigration has led to chaos, unpunished crimes to fear. Higher costs for everything is creating massive economic anxiety. The president is diminished mentally and totally disinterested unless there is a racial component to be exploited. Most voters understand Mr. Biden is doing a poor job, but they don't fully realize the potential of public disorder. It's like an unruly child. The longer antisocial behavior is allowed, the more difficult it is to bring the kid back. With about 350 million people now living in the USA, collective discipline is imperative. Allowing laws to be ignored and standards of personal responsibility to evaporate will result in tremendous harm to Americans. One word: fentanyl. The solution is to vote out progressive Democrats and their puppet, Joe Biden. If this does not happen in 2024, the negative consequences will be staggering. My analysis is not party-based. It is performance-driven. Help can be on the way, but only if the voters wise up. I'm Bill O'Reilly. I approve the message by writing it. You can reach me, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, Bill at BillO'Reilly.com, name and town if you wish to opine. Now let's go to the mail. Roberto, concierge member. Now, it's never been a better time to be a concierge or premium member to BillO'Reilly.com than now. Best time. Roberto says, regardless of who's running the government, we need something that solves problems at the source. We need to work with countries where the migrants are coming from, since they will not become migrants in the first place if we can sort that out. But Roberto, you're not going to be able to sort it out. Most of those countries that migrants come from are corrupt. They're run by dictators like Noriega in Nicaragua, all right? Like, what's his name in Venezuela? Like the Castro brothers, and now they got somebody else in there in Cuba. They ain't got to do anything. Come on. Got to get in the real world here. We got to protect ourselves. Robert, concierge member. So we got Roberto, we got Robert, big family. Bill loved the approach to solving violent crime. Many innocent people would be spared if it were to come to pass. It makes too much sense to become law. So I wrote a column, Sunday column, BillO'Reilly.com. Here's how you solve it. You want to solve the crimes with firearms. Here's how you do it. Very simple. They won't, and Robert's right. They're not going to do it. Carol, concierge member 3 in a row. Liz Wheeler, correct, Bill. As a retired teacher, remains in contact with present teachers. Marxism has been inserted into all state curriculums. I'm not convinced about that, Carol. Not convinced about it. Some states are very, very tough in what the curriculum is, and I don't see any Marxism in it. But you got to watch it. Got to be vigilant. Michael Barletta, La Mesa, California. Happy birthday to Holly. She's 8 years old. Doesn't look a day over 7. It is Holly's birthday. Holly was born in Georgia. She's a Welsh Corgi. Her ancestors are from Wales. They're sheep herding dogs. So Holly the Terror dog is 8 years old. Holly's a good dog. In a moment, something you might not know.
We all know Joe Biden isn't getting the job done and too often is making things worse.
That's conservative business leader Doug Burgum, one of America's most successful governors. Raised with small-town values, Burgum built a billion-dollar company, creating thousands of jobs. As governor of North Dakota, Doug Burgum cut taxes, balanced the budget, and helped pass term limits.
Where we come from, when something isn't working, you stop. and you try something new. That's common sense. Joe Biden has got to go.
As president, Doug Burgum will unleash American energy and end Biden's inflation. He'll secure the border to stop the flow of illegal drugs, and Burgum will rebuild our military to win the Cold War with China.
Do you believe that the economy, energy, and national security are critical to our nation's future? Remember, that's why I'm running for president.
Best of America PAC paid for and is responsible for the content of this advertising. Not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee. www.bestofamericapac.com.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you struggle with occasional nerve aches in your hands or feet? Try Nervive Nerve Relief from the world's #1 nerve care company. Nervive tablets contain alpha-lipoic acid to relieve nerve aches, weakness, and discomfort, plus B-complex vitamins to support healthy nerve function as you age. Live life with less nerve discomfort with Nervive Nerve Relief. Learn more at nervivehealth.com. And try Nervive Pain Relieving Cream to block nerve pain signals at the source. Use as directed.
Now the O'Reilly Update brings you something you might not know. The fastest growing group on the religion front is atheist, non-believers. As we come off the Jewish high holy day of Yom Kippur, it is worth examining religion in America. Right now, the global Jewish population stands at 16 million, half of it in the USA. Yom Kippur is Judaism's Day of Atonement. Believers ask God to forgive them for their sins. And according to the tradition, it is on Yom Kippur that God decides each person's fate. Now, in the Christian precincts, things are very different. Jesus of Nazareth, of whom I wrote about in Killing Jesus, is considered God, and he walked the earth. Now, a lot of my agnostic and atheist acquaintances challenge me because I am a Roman Catholic. And they say, oh, how can you believe in this superstitious stuff? Bill Maher is the poster boy for that. So I tell them this story. When we were researching Killing Jesus, the key component to why the Nazarene was executed by the Romans and condemned by the Jewish Sanhedrin authorities was that he had thousands of followers, people who went where he was. And the Romans and the Jews started to panic. They thought an insurrection might take place. But how could a poor stonecutter from Nazareth attract thousands of people? You couldn't hear him. There were no microphones. You could see him standing on a mountain or in a boat on a lake, but you couldn't hear what he said. So it had to be one thing: the works, the miracles that are written about in the New Testament. That's the only thing that could have caused thousands of people to flock to Jesus of Nazareth. Interesting, right? Back after this.
Enjoy cleaner, safer, and more private internet daily. Be more cyber zen. For a limited time only, get our special offer at nordvpn.com. With a few simple clicks, NordVPN will block online trackers and hide your virtual location. It will secure your devices from malware-infected downloads and block access to malicious websites. Enjoy internet without trackers. Internet without malicious websites. Internet without malware-ridden files. Imagine your data more secure. Your connection protected. Be more cyber zen. Take advantage of our special offer now at nordvpn.com. NordVPN, cybersecurity built for every day.
Thank you for listening to the O'Reilly Update. I am Bill O'Reilly. No spin, just facts, and always looking out for you.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. 7 candidates have qualified for tonight's GOP presidential debate. White House correspondent Greg Clugston reports from California.
The participants for this second primary debate are Ron DeSantis, Mike Pence, Nikki Haley, Tim Scott, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, and Doug Burgum. The Republican National Committee says former Arkansas Governor Asa Hutchinson did not make the cut this time. Donald Trump, who leads in the polls by a wide margin, is skipping the debate and will hold a rival event with union workers in Michigan. Greg Clugston, Simi Valley, California.
Negotiations to avoid a government shutdown continue on Capitol Hill, but House Speaker Kevin McCarthy rejected a stopgap funding bill advancing in the Senate. McCarthy says President Biden needs to get involved.
We're doing our job. So what does the president have to do with that? If he wants to sit and hide in the White House and put government into a shutdown, that's on him. But that's the wrong thing to do. I like to see anything out there. If it's a challenge, I want to solve the problem.
Republicans have been pushing for action by the president to deal with the crisis at the southern border. Mobs ransacked stores in Philadelphia, stealing merchandise in an apparent coordinated effort. Philadelphia's interim police commissioner John Stanford tells WPVI-TV 6 ABC over a dozen suspected looters were arrested during incidents believed to have been coordinated on social media.
We're investigating that there is possibly a caravan of a number of different vehicles that were going from location to location. Right now, we have a couple of those individuals in custody.
Video shows people walking out of a store with armfuls of merchandise and police tackling several to the ground. Similar mobs have targeted stores in San Francisco, Portland, and Seattle. On Wall Street, the Dow down by 68 points. The Nasdaq rose 29. More at townhall.com.
Relief Factor, pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
Angie's List is now Angie, and we've heard a lot of theories about why.
I thought it was an eco move. Fewer words, less paper.
No, it was so you could say it faster.
No, it's to be more iconic.
Must be a tech thing.
But those aren't quite right. It's because now you can compare upfront prices, book a service instantly, and even get your project handled from start to finish.
Sounds easy.
It is, and it makes us so much more than just a list. Get started at Angie.com. That's ANGI, or download the app today.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Overnight tonight, low of 63. There's a slim chance for a spot shower in the morning around daybreak. Better chance south of St. Louis. Otherwise dry and partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 82. And then it's all about heating up towards the weekend. Friday, sunny and 88. Highs will be in the upper 80s again for Saturday and Sunday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Stifel, serving investors for over 130 years. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
You know, in preparation of doing this job, I listen to a lot of political podcasts, of course, but I also listen to a lot of financial podcasts. And the ones that I've been hearing lately regarding banks is not too positive. Interest rates are rising, and a lot of mid-sized banks, that's going to hurt their bottom line, and we could next year see more bank failures. I've told you over and over that you will not see that happening with Royal Banks of Missouri. They've been around since 1964, and they are a full-service, locally owned and operated independent community bank. They don't take risks like that. They are careful with your money. That's why Royal Banks of Missouri pride themselves on having the highest financial ratings in St. Louis for stability and strength. Royal Bank has 17 convenient banking locations throughout St. Louis, including locations in Hannibal, Jerseyville, Granite City, and 2 locations in St. Charles. They also have 200 ATMs across the Midwest, so you can easily access your accounts no matter where you are. Royal Banks offers a full range of financial services to meet all your personal and business needs, whether you need auto loans or home mortgages, online and mobile banking, or wealth management services, they've got you covered. Visit Royal online at royalbanksmo.com to learn more about their services and to find a location near you. Royal Banks, Missouri, the community bank that is in your community.
St. Louis's new choice for conservative talk.
It's time that everybody wake up and pay attention.
Live and local.
Recent criminal indictment of Donald Trump. About the fourth one. The fourth one. The one he got the free gift with. Punch card. I think it's a tote bag.
This is News Talk STL. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
You continue spending. You have $6.2 billion for Ukraine. They do nothing to secure our southern border. That is just a non-starter. The Senate needs to get real. You've all seen the images at the southern border. It has to stop immediately. And this government should not continue to be funded if we don't secure our border.
Welcome to the Wednesday, September 27th edition of the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. It is 4:06 Central Daylight Time. My partner, Speaker Tim Jones, is out today, but we have, this is the second time that she is co-hosting the show. My good friend, Zena Hackworth. Can I say it?
Hello.
And what I always say,
Oh,
and I
yes,
say this
so
most
unsaid.
affectionately.
I
I know
love it,
she
yes.
probably hates it.
No, I love it.
But I say Zena Hackworth is the big sister that I never wanted, and I couldn't say that with more love and affection. Welcome into the big chair, Zena.
Why, thank you. Thank you.
A lot of big stories today. One of them, of course, is the debate that will be occurring later today at 7 o'clock. And you want to make sure that you keep listening to News Talk STL, because at 7 o'clock we will have debate coverage, second to none. It happens this Wednesday, which is tonight. You can join us live on all News Talk STL social media platforms. Vic Perselli, Tony Colombo, and Katie Fitzpatrick will have immediate reaction and analysis of everything that happens on the debate stage. That's tonight, immediately following the second Republican presidential debate on all News Talk STL social media platforms, including Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, and the brand new News Talk STL YouTube channel. Just search News Talk STL Official on YouTube to find us. It's America Decides 2024, and we have you covered with all the important news and information. Get more details at newstalkstl.com. Polls are showing, Zena, that people are not going to be tuning in to tonight's debate as they are the previous debate. It's reported that Fox Business Channel has slashed the advertising rate for a 30-second commercial on this debate from the previous debate. I guess the question I have for you, will you be watching the debate tonight?
I am going to watch. I'm actually going to be at a watch party this
Oh,
evening.
okay.
So we're going to watch every moment from the time it starts to the time that little circus, I'm sorry, until the moment it ends, yes.
Now, do you have your mind made up to your candidate, or is this something where you could kind of shop the candidates and see who could change your mind?
Oh, I'm not shopping the candidates. I think we all know that this is really not a presidential debate. This is an audition for vice president.
Wow.
For some, and for others, it's just a bashing session for the front runner.
I hear you. Supposedly, Donald Trump will not be there tonight. I think that is pretty much confirmed. There will be 7 people on the stage tonight. One person that surprised me, and I have been hearing a lot of his commercials on the station, is Doug Burgum, the governor from one of the upper Midwest states. I can't ever remember which one it is. He made it on the debate stage. Does that surprise you?
That does surprise me because I have no idea actually who he is.
Yeah.
So I guess you're not the only one who doesn't know who Doug somebody is.
Well, I know a little bit of his story. He was a software engineer that started a company, became $1 billion company, sold it to Microsoft, ran for governor, was successful. And I think he's trying to take the middle-of-the-road lane when it comes to Republican politics. Let's focus on getting the problem solved instead of personality issues and some of the culture issues. As someone who is a very strong Second Amendment advocate and pro-life advocate, I suppose those two issues are very important to you as well as economic issues.
Yes, they are. So what are his polling numbers right now? Do you have any
Obviously,
idea?
I think you had to be at 3% in national polls.
Okay.
And you had to have so many donors,
50,
but you can buy donors, nowadays by giving them gift cards, and if you give me $1.
So he has 50,000 donors in each state. So
50,000 individual unique donors, I think.
Okay, it doesn't have to be from each state.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be from.
Okay.
And it may be. I think I saw something where they do have to be from diverse areas of the country.
So we're thinking he's somewhere at 3%?
He has to be at least the minimum of 3%. You remember Asa Hutchinson, governor of Arkansas?
Yes. He's not there this time.
He's not this time. He's irritated. He's saying that the people should decide who's at these debates, not somebody making up arbitrary rules at the ivory towers in the RNC.
Now, that I agree with, because there are actually more people who are running for president on the Republican ticket than anyone really knows. One of them actually is Bishop E.W. Jackson.
I saw that. Becky was in North Carolina at a conference, and she dropped your name to Mark Robinson's wife. I know you're
Yolanda,
very tight with her. He spoke at the conference, and a friend of Becky that works with her with Americans for Citizen Voting, he just put on Facebook, "My God," after watching him speak. And you have seen Mark Robinson. He's very, very dynamic. But, she saw him there.
Right, and I really think he should have been on that debate stage this time as well, because he's coming from a different perspective. He's a solid Christian, and that's what he says. We need God back in our nation. We need to bring that back. So that's where he's coming from.
E.W. Jackson was in town a few months ago at a friend of mine's church over in Maryland Heights. It's a mega church out there. I can't think of the name of it, Pattonville School District. He spoke. I had met him prior to that, but boy, he has just a very compelling story. Went to Harvard, got a law degree there, talked about how he wasn't doing much with his life in high school and decided to become motivated and became the class valedictorian and pulled himself up from his bootstraps. The story they say
that
black people
can't do. Yes, I'm very familiar with that.
You know that story that black people can't achieve anything.
We can't do anything. Correct.
And if a black person does achieve it, it's that they are special and we're given all type of breaks, or they're Uncle Toms. But it can't be just maybe God had a plan for this person, favored them, opened up doorways, and this is his plan for them. That's why they're successful.
Impossible.
Not that they.
How could God have anything to do with it? Yes.
Not that they bootlicked or anything like that.
Right.
Zena, we got a big show today. Before we continue talking about more topics, I want to get to our guest. At 424, we will have Beavis Schock. He is an attorney, and he is a board member of the Show Me Institute, who are huge sponsors of News Talk STL. He was the attorney that got red light cameras outlawed originally. I think he argued that the camera doesn't necessarily prove that that person is the person who's registered to the car, is actually driving that car. I wanted to have Mr. Schock on because your favorite mayor, Tashara Jones, has outlined a proposal to bring red light cameras back because of quote-unquote safety. And I want to ask Mr. Schock, if the Missouri Supreme Court has ruled these unconstitutional, how is Mayor Jones bringing back red light cameras?
Well, I think we all know the answer to that.
Just do it anyway?
Yes, the Democrats. They don't. The Constitution. What does that mean?
You know, I've given some of my red light camera stories. Have you gotten any? Did you ever get any red light camera tickets?
I take the fifth.
I got two.
I've never gotten one.
I got like two in one place in like an hour time, and it was basically rolling. I didn't make a complete stop at a stoplight. There was no traffic coming, so I kind of rolled it, and I got a ticket. I was like, So then I had to go back to the same place, left, did the exact same thing. That's like $200.
So it wasn't actually you. You're not actually admitting to it. You're just saying that your car didn't come to a full
I
stop.
think that if a police officer, a human being, would have been there and would have seen that there was no traffic coming either way, and I did look left, I did look right, but I did not make a complete stop, that he would have said, doing the paperwork for this ticket really isn't worth it. Go ahead, do your business, be peaceful, and prosper.
Yes.
Do a Spock thing. Live long,
live long
and prosper. Chris's Corner today. It's going to be a surprise. So you want to tune in at 4:45. At 5:24, we're going to speak with Bonner Cohen. He is a senior policy analyst with the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow. He's also a senior fellow at the National Center for Public Policy. We'll talk to him about a California lawsuit that says oil giants deceived the public on climate and seek funds for storm damage. So we'll talk with Bonner Cohen. I think we've had him on the show before. Zena, we're old enough to remember that old, what's the salt company, Morton Salt Company, where they said yes, remember, you're older.
Yes,
the Morton Salt Company that says when it rains, it pours.
Yes.
And I think we can say that, of course, for our beleaguered president, Joe Biden. He's had trouble with some of his dogs recently. They have bit Secret Service agents. They've had to send them off. They've gotten new dogs. Yeah. Well, we have a report today that Commander, the president's dog, German Shepherd, has bit a Secret Service agent again on yesterday.
Yes.
This is the 11th incident.
11th or 12th?
It may be the 12th, 11th or 12th incident.
I thought it was the 12th.
Regarding Commander. Well, wow. What do you think's the deal with Commander? Why is he like biting Secret Service agents?
I have no idea. Maybe he secretly wants to be a Secret Service agent, perhaps.
Maybe he wants to be a police dog or something.
No, not biting people. He wouldn't be. Not biting people.
Well,
So why is it that his dogs, there's nothing done to these dogs? Because if my dog bit someone and it did it more than once, I think my dogs would be put down.
They would be put down, but they were saying the Commander was going to be sent to Camp David, and he can run around the grounds and not be around any people. That's amazing to me. But the president's dog is going to get a little extra reprieve. Just like Hunter. If they can't put Hunter in jail for his crimes, how are you going to put down the first dog?
Hunter's dog, right. Okay, yeah. Special treatment,
that is exactly that. One other thing, too, Zena, I want to talk about. Joe Biden is going to have a lot of issues with gas prices, with crime. We see the crime happening in San Francisco and Chicago, these flash mobs. But one of the issues that are really going to be affecting him is immigration. We've had this potential government shutdown that's happening. We've had other things in the news, but it's put that on the back burner. But I heard a report the other day that 9,000 people a day are invading our Texas southern border again. And I can go back to Jay Johnson, who was the Homeland Security director under Obama, who said if we had like 1,500 people a day cross, that's an emergency.
Right.
9,000 people. And this whole border issue, and we'll get into that later, is also affecting the potential government shutdown that's going to happen Sunday morning. Mm-hmm. So you see New York, your hometown.
Yes.
I know you're proud of that. Mayor Adams has said this is going to destroy New York City because they're getting a fraction of what all of these other places are getting.
Right. So he says this after he welcomes everyone into
exactly because they weren't expecting the overload. But
when it rains, it pours.
Exactly. As an African American, though, I mean, Biden's poll numbers are down among African Americans because he hasn't done anything for African Americans.
Do that cheer thing.
Exactly.
Yay.
Do you think the emphasis on illegals and borders and giving people work permits, expediting that process, do you think African Americans are seeing that, and that is also affecting some of his poll numbers?
Absolutely. I do know some really hardcore Democrats in New York, and they were just they just hardcore.
Mm-hmm.
And I said, well, what about all the immigration? And then they stopped and they said, yeah, that is a problem.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it's a problem for them.
And they've even had polls that came out recently of New Yorkers that said, one, get rid of the automatic sanctuary city status. I think they have to go and get that changed legally somehow. And the polls of New Yorkers were against all of these free goodies and things for illegal immigrants. There's nowhere to house them. It's costing $2 billion. We've seen the crazy plan that they wanted to house them in elementary schools until the parents protested in front of City Hall, and they relented on that. Even the mayors even said that there's money from COVID funds that we can pay you to put a illegal
in your home.
Yes. Yes. That is one of the proposals.
Bring this potential criminal into your home with your children.
We will pay you out of COVID funds to put a potential criminal, as you say, into your home. They're just completely desperate.
They are out of their minds. They are out of their. Why would anyone want a stranger in their homes?
Well, liberals are compassionate and they care about people, and
until they go to Martha's Vineyard, and then you want to kick them out the door. No, we're compassionate until you bring them to us.
And then they'll say, Zena, what does the Statue of Liberty say? Bring us your poor, your tired, your huddled masses.
But isn't that legally,
though?
They can come as long as they're here legally.
Maybe somebody should carve that in there legally.
I think they should.
Good conversation. Zena Hackworth, who is sitting in for Tim Jones today. Pro-life advocate, strong Second Amendment advocate. We won't go any further than that. Sitting in. When we come back, we will speak with Beavis Shock on Tashara Jones's proposal to bring back red light cameras. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Overnight tonight, low of 63. There's a slim chance for a spot shower in the morning around daybreak. Better chance south of St. Louis. Otherwise dry and partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 82. And then it's all about heating up towards the weekend. Friday, sunny and 88. Highs will be in the upper 80s again for Saturday and Sunday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
St. Louis's place to talk. The American people have further lost faith in our governmental institutions.
People can decide what they want and how they want to live.
News Talk STL. News, analysis, opinion.
Fall is a fantastic time to call our friends, my friends, at Pro Irrigation. ProIrrigation.com, 636-692-4441. That's ProIrrigation.com. Professional irrigation systems can do a residential install in just one day like they did at our Jones home. I was tired of dragging hoses around after well over 10 years of doing it. I thought I could handle it. Used to be a greenskeeper. Thought I had that magical green thumb. I do good to a point. But trying to get your whole lawn done properly, it just doesn't ever work out well. That's why you should give a call to Professional Irrigation Systems today, ProIrrigation.com. Fully certified design team. And they also offer all kinds of great deals with interest rates and home prices on the rise. The best investment is back in your home. They also do lighting installs to accent the architecture of your homestead, making your neighbors envious, and great fertilization packages for all your lawn care needs as we head into the fall and winter months. Financing options to spread out payments. See everything the Pro Irrigation has at proirrigation.com. 636-692-4441, proirrigation.com.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-466-9625. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-466-9625.
Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack, but not with ZipRecruiter. Its powerful technology actively finds and invites qualified candidates to apply to your job. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you the needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Hi, Sean Long for STL FenceWorks. STL FenceWorks is proud and excited to install American-made aluminum and vinyl fence products, as well as American-made decking. For instance, STL FenceWorks has teamed up with Jareth Manufacturing. Jareth invented the aluminum fence industry over 50 years ago. The Jareth product is wholly sourced and manufactured in the U.S., and STL FenceWorks is the third largest Jareth customer in the world. STL FenceWorks is vinyl fencing also, and not just white. We partner with National Vinyl Products to provide you with tan, clay, gray, and variegated wood grain vinyl fence products too, all made in the U.S. Not to be forgotten, STL FenceWorks is maintenance-free decking. STL FenceWorks is the #1 distributor of Wolf Cellular PVC in the Midwest, proudly manufactured in the U.S. and voted #1 maintenance-free decking product in the United States. Let STL FenceWorks make your outdoor space magical. Visit STLFenceWorks.com today and learn how we can make your backyard dreams into a reality. At STL FenceWorks, your satisfaction is our passion.
Picture this, a room filled with fellow Republicans, all with one question. What could the future of St. Louis City look like under the leadership of Bill Eigel as governor?
Hi, this is Mary Teresa McClain with the Republican Party, City of St. Louis. It's more than a meeting. It's an invitation to hear Senator Bill Eigel talk about the future of our city.
Join us on Thursday, October 5th. Doors open at 6:30 p.m. Visit stlouisrepublicans.com for more details.
Paid for by St. Louis City Republican PAC. Curtis Farber, Treasurer.
I'm Susie Moore, and this is More to the Point.
I've always been a big Peanuts fan, and while I dug Schroeder's piano skills, appreciated Linus's insights, and empathized with Charlie Brown's travails, Snoopy, of course, was my favorite. He was great just as Snoopy, but his alter egos were fun, too. Loved him as the World War I flying ace, and Joe Cool, well, he defined the word. A stunning contrast to another Joe we all know and know. That Joe, in all fairness, has a tough row to hoe. He's battling Father Time and the Peter Principle while trying to run a country, or appear as though he is, one beset with crime and inflation, decay and unchecked immigration, ratcheting tensions and shrinking pensions. He's got a mess on his hands, a fair amount of it his own creation, and I don't just mean Hunter, but that's a whole other issue. But Joe sought the job and purports to be seeking it again, though how he and his team expect to sell 80 and rapidly declining with seriously underwater approval ratings, one has to wonder. They've tried to repackage him as Dark Brandon, which is laughable. They've reverted to pushing him as Joe Cool with his aviator shades and white toothy grin, but unlike a certain beloved beagle, this Joe's alter egos just don't fly.
Susie Moore is Deputy Managing Editor for RedState.com. For more to the point and everything Susie Moore, log on to RedState.com. Follow Susie on Twitter at SmoozyQ and keep listening to 1019 and 94.1 News Talk STL. This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps, driving the leftist crazy all afternoon.
The idea behind this bill is not to gain revenue. All of the money collected from red light and speeding tickets will be used to fund this program, to fund drivers' education classes.
And welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. It is 4:28. Zena Hackworth is sitting in for my partner Tim Jones today. And that was a alderwoman clearly lying about red light cameras. These are nothing but a revenue grab. And because Mayor Tashara Jones has proposed bringing back these menaces to society, I thought we should bring back Beavis Schock, the attorney who originally made red light cameras illegal in the state of Missouri. I want to get his thoughts on this latest resurgence. Mr. Schock, how are you, sir?
Hey, I am fine. How are you, Chris? It is an honor and a pleasure to speak to you.
It's good
hello, Zena.
It's good to speak to you as well. Look, I'm no attorney. I don't play one on the radio. My partner's the attorney. But I thought red light cameras were ruled unconstitutional. How is the mayor bringing back red light cameras?
The decision the Supreme Court came down with a few years back in our cases didn't say red light cameras are unconstitutional.
Okay.
The decision said the way they were set up before, it was unconstitutional. The two big issues being that the ordinance made the owner responsible, and then the owner had to name names if there was a different driver, thereby shifting the burden of proof to the defendant, which is always wrong. And then it also didn't assess points, and Missouri statutes require that points be assessed on a moving violation, which running a red light, your car's moving, so it's a moving violation. Now, let me emphasize, I don't see a constitutional problem if, one, they really do look at the person's face on the camera, seeing through the windshield, and two, they assess points for the violation. Then it's really just a tool for law enforcement. So I do not see a legal litigation path to stopping this disaster. How's that for bad news to start the interview?
That is bad news. I was expecting you to say this is crazy, and I'll be the first one filing a lawsuit to stop this madness.
Let me tell you what I think is wrong with these cameras, and I'm going to make 4 points.
All right.
Point one, and the most important point, is that the idea of a surveillance state is a bad idea. In other words, we're going to lack the human element of the officer pulling somebody over saying, hey, I know nobody was coming. You made a right on red. You shouldn't do that, because in order to have a civil society in which we are safe to interact with each other, engage in commerce, love, friendship, and be together, we all have to follow the basic rules of traffic, even though nobody's coming. And then, so please, sir, that's your warning, and it's done in a civil way. Instead, now they just send you something in the mail. So that's the first and most important factor. In contrast, in China now, where they have something called your social credit score. So that means, well, did you agree with the party on everything? And in a free society, we don't want the government giving people social credit scores. So that's the first and biggest problem, and it's a way we exist as a government and a people an issue. Now the next thing is that the wrong people will do the right thing. So let's say somebody does run the red light, they get the notice in the mail, they look at the video, yeah, I ran it, and I'm a good citizen, I want to believe in the rule of law, I'll pay the $100. Well, that person, by nature, is a rule follower. Nobody follows all the rules all the time. The infraction was a small one. They'll pay it. But the lunatics on our streets, I drive around St. Louis all the time like the rest of the readership does, particularly as one gets closer to the city core, there are people running red lights all the time. Mm-hmm. And those people are going to ignore the notice in the mail because they are, by definition, scofflaws. So we punish the good citizen, and we let the people who are causing the mayhem on our streets get away with it because they're not going to pay. They're not going to pay any attention to it. Sometimes I think that these people who are running these red lights, I mean, you can be at a red light, the guy will just go around you from behind and run right through the light.
Yes.
And it's incredibly dangerous. I think they must not own that car. I mean, cars are really valuable, good things. Why would somebody risk getting T-boned or T-boning somebody else and wrecking their car. They must have stolen the car.
Exactly.
Or they wouldn't really want to do that. There's an interesting issue about cops and our current much lower traffic environment. I've been a lawyer for 40 years. When I started my practice, it was all traffic tickets, DWIs, bar fights, and divorces. And
in that order?
That's not what I do anymore. No, but the money was in the divorces, believe me. But I got out of that game just because everybody hates each other involved in those things. But it is a real problem that the cops are not giving traffic tickets. When I go to court on a traffic ticket, which I do once in a while now, there's nobody there. They just aren't giving the tickets.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if we analyze why, there'll be three reasons. The first is there aren't enough cops. The second is they really don't want to turn on the cherries and have the guy scoot off and not stop. And they don't want to do these chases because then some innocent person gets run over by the car being chased or sometimes by the cop car. And that's a disaster. I mean, we can't have chases in a crowded city area where people are going to get mushed. And then, of course, the cop also, given the person is running a red light, flagrantly violating the law, risking all of our safety, that might be the guy who, when the cop walks up to the car and say, "Hey, sir, I saw you running that red light. I'm going to have to give you a ticket for that." They just pull out their gun and shoot him. And that's not good. So I think that maybe what's going on with the red light camera desire, surely Mayor Jones talked to this with the new police chief and the other people in law enforcement and public safety and said, hey, maybe this is a way that we can free up cop resources to do other things. Not that they're able to do other things completely, but it's also this fear the cops have that the process of pulling cars over is not working. Now, let's keep in mind that folks who don't go over when the cop puts on the cherries, that's a disaster for society. That's a lot worse than running a red light because that person didn't grow up with their parents, particularly their father, saying, "Now, young man, I want you to drive safely. And if a cop does pull you over, you need to pull over. And you need to be respectful. Hold your license in your hand with your fingers while your hands are on the steering wheel in plain view. Say, yes, officer, no, officer. What would you like me to do, officer? I acknowledge my error. I'm sorry." That kind of thing. And that's not happening at all. Finally, my last point, which was there was a little blurb. Maybe I'm running out of time. Tell me if I am. But
no, you're good.
You talked about the money at the very beginning of the segment, and you had some aldermen on. First of all the money in the city goes to friends and family, not to services. So this idea that we're going to put the money into education for young drivers, that's just false and is never going to happen. And if it does, the really great thing is that friends of family of those in power will be the teachers and the landlords for the classes. And it's just a big scam to put money in the hands of friends and family. And other than that, I think they're great. How about that?
You know, Mr. Schock, I've read reports regarding red light cameras that they actually create more traffic accidents. You have people who are maybe about to run a light. They know that there's a red light camera. They stop abruptly, and you have a lot of rear-end accidents. Have you heard anecdotes like that as well?
I've heard that. I'm very distrustful of all such statistics. The red light cameras, companies put out their statistics showing how it makes it safe. The opponents put out their BS statistics saying how we have more rear-enders. I just don't think anybody knows the answer to that truthfully. And, of course, that you have to divide the world up into different kinds of people. So one person would be really afraid of losing the $100. And don't forget, the guy, I got plenty of money. I could pay $100. What about the family on a tight budget who's law abiding? Oh man, we got to come up with an extra $100 this month to pay this stupid ticket. It always puts the burden on the working poor, who, in my opinion, are the most important people. If you're ever going to help anybody in society, which I don't really think we should, but if you are going to help people, You got to help the working poor, and this is exactly who is harmed most by this program.
Speaking with Beavis Shock, he is an attorney. He worked on the original red light camera case. Mr. Shock, you were also an attorney on another noted case, and that was the 1% earning tax here in St. Louis, the city of St. Louis. As those of us who work in the city of St. Louis, we follow that very closely because we have that 1% taken out. Whatever happened with that case? What was the resolution of it?
That's a good. So let me set the table for you.
Okay.
This relates to people who live outside the city, whether they're in Illinois or the county or Jefferson County, and they are working for an employer in the city. The city then withholds 1% earnings tax, and it all started when everybody fled the city and moved to the county, and the city said, hey, we're running out of money, but these people are coming into work. They're using the services, the police, the fire, the streets. They got to pay. And that made sort of a little bit of sense, but obviously earnings tax drive all businesses out, so it's actually a really dumb idea. But when COVID hit, the city, particularly the collector, stopped giving refunds to people for days when they were working remotely, which was an enormous number of people. Now, let's distinguish between fancy people like me who sit in an office and shuffle paper around and guys who work on breaks in car places and nurses at barns and things like that. Those guys had to work at their place of business. You can't fix breaks remotely. But there are a lot of people, particularly high-dollar people like lawyers and insurance brokers, and they work for these city employers, and they all started working remotely when COVID happened, and they wanted their 1% back because they weren't rendering their service in the city. And the collector, which had before then always given the refunds, and it was non-material amount of money, so it wasn't a big deal. Then he said, no, you still have to pay. So I filed suit on that, and we won in the trial court. Judge Sennhauser, very wise judge, saw right through it, and so he ruled in our favor. So the city immediately filed an appeal, and that means that we have this court system where there are lower courts and higher courts. He said, let's have the higher court overrule that lower court. And that appeal is partially briefed. I filed my first brief a few weeks ago in that, and the other side immediately asked for extra 30 days. So they're not due until the end of October, should be due now. And I said, fine. I mean, in the law, stall and delay is the currency of our profession. If you can't stall and delay, they take away your license. But what are you going to do? I said, fine, you want 30 days extra, go ahead and take it. And so we're waiting for the briefing to get done. Then we'll have what's called oral argument when the judges are up on their big bench and the lawyers make very somber, serious arguments as to why they're right. And then you wait a few months, and then the judges issue an opinion. This case could go to the Missouri Supreme Court, which is where the red light camera ticket was decided a while back. I don't know whether it will or not. Everybody kind of doesn't want to touch that one because everybody thinks, oh, the poor city, they need the money. Of course, my view is what they need to do is be starved. They don't need more money, they need less money. But that's another subject of a different radio show. So that's where we are right now on that one. And I am cautiously optimistic because, you see, Judge Sennhauser, he took the bullet. I mean, he's a judge. They stand for retention. He said, I'm not going along with this money grab by the city that's obviously against the words, which says services rendered or work done in the city. If the guy's working remotely, writing his little legal briefs for his giant law firm downtown out in the county in his glorious house in Ladue with the wood paneling and the cigar smoke.
Nice.
I don't think that guy owes that money. Yeah. So we'll see how that comes out. And Judge Sennhauser had a lot of guts because there's a lot of, I think judges are a little politically sensitive. I know you'd be surprised to hear that, but they are.
And
Mr.
got a
Shock,
question
this is
for you.
Zena Hackworth. Had a great information. Thank you so much. Hi. Now, if these red light cameras are put back in, will it be enforced if someone violates it, and if so, how?
Good question. So after the hands up, don't shoot, which was a lie, but was taken by everybody as true. the Brown murder, whether you call it a murder or not, again, it's subject for a different show. The whole traffic game got changed. Now they don't give many tickets. If you don't show up for court, they start sending notices. Hey, you got to come to court. You got to deal with this. I am not getting calls from people. Oh, they just arrested me, Mr. Shock. Got me out of jail. I've been arrested for not paying my traffic ticket 2 months ago. I don't get that call anymore. I don't think it's happening. And I get a mea culpa on this because when I was a real young lawyer in the 80s, I would go to North County, one of these municipal courts, and you'd watch the judge, always a white guy, the clerk, a white clerk, the prosecutor, a white prosecutor, a room full of law-abiding black people, and the judge would just mow them down. I mean, guilty, 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 fine, fine, fine. I remember thinking, this isn't really going to work out very well over time.
I've been there.
And it didn't. And I didn't want to do anything about it. Right? I mean, I should have raised the alarm. I should have written editorials or op-eds, done something, and I didn't. So I regret that. Not that I could have affected it, but I could have tried.
Mr. Shock, you are a noted attorney on these cases that we mentioned today, but you are an author, and we had you on last time to talk about your latest book. In the closing minutes we have here, talk about your latest work.
Okay, my book is called Eternal Questions, a maybe interesting list. And I started writing these questions because my wife thought I was too serious about factual history, studying the fine points of the Compromise of 1850 and the Dred Scott decision and World War II and when the D-Day happened and all that. She said, Beavis, what are you doing this stuff? Think about life's spiritual issues. So I started writing a book of just what I called eternal questions, and I call it a maybe interesting list because whether it's interesting has to be determined by the reader. And it's nothing but 100 pages of questions, some of which are deep philosophical questions which have bedeviled society since Socrates, and others are more recent questions, or excuse me, more humorous questions, just trying to make people laugh. And it's a fun little book. I advise people to put it next to their dinner table and sit down with your spouse and just open the book at random and run your finger down the page, have your spouse say stop and read that question. And then at dinner, you'll just have a question session and discussion, which is different than the latest TV show or movie. Not that discussing Barbie's wrong, it's good, but it's fun to talk about questions which Socrates addressed in Greek times 100 generations ago. So that's my book, and I loved writing it. I loved reading it. So far, I must confess, it's not a commercial success, but that's about to change. Once you're on the Chris Arps Jones show, pretty much you've made it in the world. So that's what happened to me.
Mr. Shock, always a pleasure to have you on. Appreciate it. Good luck with the book. Good luck with the legal cases, and we hope to have you on again,
sir. Can I have 30 more seconds?
Go for it.
I guess I got a really big question about this red light camera bill. People walk up to me on the street, I don't even know, saying, aren't you the red light guy? And I said, yeah. They say, thank you so much. I hate those things. My gut tells me they're wrong, and you stop them. And thanks for your good support. I appreciate it. Here's my card if you ever get a traffic ticket. And then, or maybe a leg-off case, as we'd call it in the personal injury field. And what I don't understand is, given the incredible opposition, do the aldermen not worry at all about being reelected? I mean, this is a serious thing. The idea of a representative assembly like the Board of Aldermen is that they'll be attuned to the people's wishes, and they won't do what the public doesn't want. I mean, the whole idea of democracy, a republic that we have, is that the people, through their representatives, get government that they want. And if everybody doesn't want red light camera tickets, why would aldermen vote for it? Well, they must have no fear of the voters. That tells you something's wrong with the voting habits of the public, and that it comes from kind of one-party rule, and it's all inside stuff.
And they're Democrats.
Who gets the spoils. but they shouldn't. These aldermen, I mean, they aren't getting any requests from the public to put these lights in. Everybody hates them. Why aren't they attuned and careful, attuned to the public's wishes and careful to abide with those wishes. I don't get that part of it.
I think they see it as a money grab, unfortunately. Mr. Schock, thank you.
They do.
Thank you so much, sir, and we look forward to having you on again.
I am always ready to talk to you. Thanks for your time
Thank you,
today.
sir.
An honor to serve.
Excellent. Thank you. Have a great week. And 448, Chris's Corner, when we come back, we'll talk about immigration and its after effects happening in Chicago. You're listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show with Zena Hackworth filling in today on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Overnight tonight, low of 63. There's a slim chance for a spot shower in the morning around daybreak. Better chance south of St. Louis. Otherwise dry and partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 82. And then it's all about heating up towards the weekend. Friday, sunny and 88. Highs will be in the upper 80s again for Saturday and Sunday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
America Decides 2024.
Join News Talk STL for special coverage of the second GOP presidential debate. It all happens tonight.
On Rumble, Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube.
America Decides 2024. Details at newstalkstl.com.
We're here with our great friends, Kathy and Rob Connor from Connor Roofing. One thing I love about your company, Kathy, is customer service.
We pride ourselves on making sure our customers are happy, and you can check out our Google reviews. We're very proud of that as well. And if you're not happy, we will do what it takes to fix the problem.
Well, that's just it. You set expectations, and we like to really educate our customers, and it gets done the way we said we were going to do it.
Call Connor Roofing, 314-375-7475, or ConnorRoofing.com. That's CONNER roofing.com.
Colombo here with an awesome offer from the cleaning pros we trust with our home, the team at Zero Res. Mention the Colombo special when you book a cleaning in September, and you'll get 3 rooms of carpet cleaned starting at just $129 plus $100 off your air duct cleaning, which is perfect this time of year because it will help alleviate allergies and asthma, lower your energy bills, and keep your home cleaner longer. Just mention the Colombo special when you call 314-474-2020 or book online at ZeroResSTL.com.
It's your last chance to cut a deal at Seidenstricker Nobe Partners. Save up to $5,000 on select John Deere compact tractor packages with our exclusive 10-year warranty. And we're offering 0% financing for 60 months with 0 down. Get your John Deere equipment by shopping online or visiting us at any of our 28 locations. Let's cut a deal now before it's too late. SNPartners.com.
Offer valid through 9/30/2023. Some restrictions apply. See dealer for details.
Get ready for winter by making sure your family is warm and safe when the bone-chilling weather gets here. Mike Ferguson here for Anton's Plumbing, Heating, Cooling, and Energy Experts. Call them today to get your furnace tune-up. It's only $89, and it could save you hundreds or even thousands by preventing a breakdown. 314-338-3941 or AntonsHVAC.com. Anton's installed our HVAC system, and we love it. Put their expertise and excellent customer service to work for you, just like they did for my house. AntonsHVAC.com.
Mike Ferguson in the morning.
Thursday's show is your chance to get on the radio and tell us all what you think of how the candidates performed at Wednesday's presidential debate.
Mornings starting at 5:30 on News Talk STL. This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at Stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com. Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL.
Joe Biden met with Jonathan Lee. He wrote a letter of recommendation for his child to get into college in the United States. There's a relationship that was developed between Joe Biden and Jonathan Lee when he was vice president, and now we have evidence that Jonathan Lee, who Joe Biden said his son never took any money from, said his son never took any money from China. Hunter Biden's lawyer said that Hunter never received any money from this guy. We have evidence that he received over $250,000, and the address listed on the wire was Joe Biden's personal residence.
4:53 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. That is Representative Comer, chairman of the House Oversight Committee, just releasing a drip of evidence against Hunter Biden. This is the latest evidence. Apparently in 2019, shortly after Joe Biden announced he was running for president, $250,000 and $10,000 was wired to Hunter Biden. The address on record was Joe Biden's address. The Democrats are saying, hey, Hunter was living there. He was a drug addict. This does not mean that this money went to Joe Biden. But it undercuts Joe Biden's argument where he was saying all during the campaign and recently that he didn't know anything, that his son was not doing business with China. These are all lies. These are all made up. He said during the debate that the one doing business with China is Trump, not the Bidens. This is just another drip.
Yes, it is. And it makes me wonder sometime for coming to Joe Biden's defense, maybe he really didn't know because all the dementia that's going on, but I don't know that that's the case.
Yeah, it looks really bad. And, Democrats can say, hey, he was living there. That's why the checks had that address on it. But I think once they are able to subpoena Joe Biden's bank records, which they should be able to get, they were able to get Donald Trump's personal IRS records. That's where the smoking gun, the red flag is going to be. If there's any of that money that went from Hunter's foreign business dealings, went from his accounts to Joe Biden's accounts, they ever find that, it's over.
Well, but will they find it? Will they allow it to be found?
That sounds kind of deep state. It's a conspiracy there.
Well, it's my conspiracy because they're hiding everything when it comes to the Bidens. They are hiding everything. So why wouldn't they hide that?
Comer has gotten a lot of information through some of these subpoenas and things. So
I hope so.
I hope so, too. We've got Chris's Corner in our last couple of minutes here. Let's go ahead and get to that, Joey.
Chris.
And if you don't know, now you know.
And now, Chris's Corner.
We talked about it today. Immigration is out of control. The southern border, 9,000 illegal immigrants a day have been coming over. It's getting bad when the governor of New York has declared an emergency and has deployed National Guard troops to help out with the immigration situation. They're coming over in a flood, and part of the reason for that is Joe Biden and his administration basically said that it's an open border. We want you to come. You remember during the Democratic debates last cycle, the moderator asked the candidates to raise your hand if you are, not going to stop illegals from coming in. They all raised their hands, and they all took what the president and those candidates said to heart and have come over in droves. Just since Joe Biden has been president, 2.5 years, I think it is, 9 million illegal immigrants have come into our country. That is more than the population than the state of Missouri. Well, the administration now is expediting more illegal immigration coming into our state, into our country. In Illinois, Venezuelan migrants are now going to have their status expedited, and even though they are illegal, they will now be able to work legally in this country. The theory behind it, of course, is if they are working, then they are less burden on a society. Of course, that is liberal thinking because the exact opposite is going to happen. You're going to have more illegals coming. At 5:24, we're going to speak with Bonner Cohen, Senior Policy Analyst with the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow. You are listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Hey guys, Columbo here, reminding you that if you belong to an organization like a school or a church, or your kids are part of a group or a sports team that needs to raise money, there's no better way to do so than with a TJ's Pizza fundraiser. TJ's Pizza has been helping local organizations raise money for over 30 years to the tune of tens of millions of dollars. A local company helping local people, and there's lots of different ways TJ's can help you raise big money fast. Get started now at tjspizza.com.
Do you live in West St. Louis County? Then you can get West News Magazine delivered free to your home just by asking for it. West News Magazine is the only print source for the political, school, business, and sports news happening in your hometown. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe or pick up a free copy at all area Deerbergs and Schnuck stores. West News Magazine. Anybody who wants it gets it. Anybody who gets it wants it. Subscribe for free today. Simply visit westnewsmagazine.com/subscribe.
Oh, Adam, you are so romantic. And I love the kitchen you found with all these great crumbs.
Yeah, baby, only the finest crumbs in the kitchen for my favorite aunt. Oh no, it's the pest control company again with those green wheels. They always kill the mood.
This is Derek, the owner of All Solutions Pest Control. Give us a call today at 636-486-7888. We'd love to help you out. Learn more about our special $67 offer. You can visit us online at allsolutionspestcontrol.com.
If a pest-free home is your goal, call All Solutions Pest Control.
This Saturday night at 10 on Stories of New Americans.
I'm joined by Helen Gannon, who is from Ireland. Did you want to go back to Ireland?
Oh, I did. I think that anyone who emigrates will realize the painful transition of emigrating.
Yeah.
I was miserable. All I wanted to do was to go back home.
Stories of New Americans, Saturday nights at 10 on News Talk STL.
KLGY HD3 Clayton, K270BW Bellefonte, KNBS Bowling Green. This is News Talk STL at 1019, 94.1, and always streaming at newstalkstl.com.
News this hour from townhall.com. I'm Keith Peters reporting. Republicans are meeting for their second presidential debate tonight, and for the second time, former President Trump will not share the stage with them. Correspondent Julie Walker reports.
7 GOP candidates will be at the Ronald Reagan Library in California for the debate hosted by Fox Business Network. Republican frontrunner Donald Trump will be in Michigan, a key state for the general election, delivering a speech to striking auto workers. The threshold for this debate is higher, so there will be fewer Republican hopefuls. They include Mike Pence, Ron DeSantis, Nikki Haley, Vivek Ramaswamy, Chris Christie, Tim Scott, and Doug Burgum. I'm Julie Walker.
There's just 4 days before a government shutdown, and it looks like there's no agreement on a way forward. The Senate is promoting a continuing resolution, but House Speaker Kevin McCarthy has rejected that bill. Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell says he agrees on the need to address runaway spending and border security, but the priority right now is passing a stopgap measure to keep the government open.
These important discussions cannot progress if Congress simply fails to complete our work on standard short-term funding, and the basic functions of government end up being taken hostage.
A House test vote is set for Friday, 1 day before the shutdown deadline. Their plan would cut spending by 8% and toughen border security. The Senate bill would fund the government, adding $6 billion for Ukraine aid and $6 billion for U.S. disaster relief. Speaker McCarthy has asked Republicans to do what they've said they'd never do and pass their own temporary measure to keep the government open. On Wall Street, a mixed day as the Dow is down by 68 points. The Nasdaq rose 29. More on these stories at townhall.com.
Factor pain relief that's natural, pain relief that works, and pain relief that attacks the source of the pain. That's the experience of tens of thousands of Americans who are taking Relief Factor right now. See their incredible video endorsements at relieffactor.com and then order your 3-week quick starter pack for just $19.95. That's less than $1 a day. Find out if it can work for you like it works for me by ordering your 3-week quick starter pack today. Relieffactor.com, relieffactor.com. Be the next success story.
I'm Scott, the owner of Solid Fire Pits. When I began welding my custom-made fire pits for friends and family, I shared them on TikTok because I was just so proud of them. Check it out. That's beautiful. I posted every new fire pit design, and more people kept ordering, from 26 states and counting. Then on my birthday, I had my best sales ever. Now how can the universe beat that?
Solid Fire Pits is just one of the 5 million U.S. businesses that rely on TikTok every day. TikTok sparks business.
From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Overnight tonight, low of 63. There's a slim chance for a spot shower in the morning around daybreak. Better chance south of St. Louis. Otherwise dry and partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 82. And then it's all about heating up towards the weekend. Friday, sunny and 88. Highs will be in the upper 80s again for Saturday and Sunday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
This hour of News Talk STL is brought to you by Rodney and Jen Wallner and the entire Wallner home selling team at Berkshire Hathaway. Call them today at 314-810-SOLD. 314-810-SOLD.
Late September now. You know what that means. Lots of weddings, anniversaries, special occasions, birthdays. And we're all starting to think about the season of giving right around the corner and all of those wonderful high holidays. Newsteaders Fine Jewelers is a great place to get all of that shopping done for all those special people in your life. Our neighborhood jewelry store since 1961. Richard and his entire team, multi-family generational team, and so many other awesome folks there take great pride in being local and family-owned right here in St. Louis, serving us with all kinds of awesome, honest jewelry solutions for over 50 years. What kind of things might those be? Everything. Jewelry repair, jewelry appraisals, fine watch repair, fine watch sales, pearl and bead restringing, quality ring resizing, and of course those fantastic, beautiful diamonds, which can be viewed at wowdiamonds.com. Richard, also one of the last master engravers in the country. They do everything in-house. They can make you something special and unique. They're at 2961 Daughtery Ferry Road, 314-966-4442, 24/7, always available at wowdiamonds.com. That's wowdiamonds.com.
Subscribe and watch your favorite News Talk STL shows. Mike Ferguson in the morning, The Vic Porcelli Show, Columbo and Katie, Jones and Arps. Webcam streaming on Facebook, Twitter, Rumble. Subscribe and watch News Talk STL. This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Tim Jones and Chris Arps in the afternoon.
The 9 most terrifying words in the English language are, I'm from the government and I'm here to help.
The more you remove voting from Election Day, the more opportunity you're offering for people to commit fraud.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained?
I think the Democrats are so short-sighted in this tactic they have now to just cheat at any cost to win elections.
You're a lying dog-faced pony soldier. You said you were, but now you got to be honest. I'm going to be honest with you.
What are we doing wrong here?
As a former leader in the House, I think you can put your finger on it. It's called leadership. We don't have it.
Tim Jones and Chris Arps.
None of the other Republicans are up on Biden, which is actually surprising to me because I think he's so bad.
But you don't think it's going to be Biden?
I don't know. I don't imagine he gets to the starting gate, but maybe he will. Look, he's the most incompetent president in history. He can't put two sentences together.
Worse than Carter?
Yeah, he's the best thing that ever happened to Jimmy Carter, actually.
If it's not him, who's it going to be?
I don't think that Kamala gets it handed. You know, a lot of people are so afraid to go against her. I don't think it gets handed. I think all of a sudden everybody would start jumping in. She'd have to earn it. It'd be very hard to earn. But I don't know. You know, they're the same 5 or 6 people that you report on and you
Michelle
see all
Obama.
the time. I don't see that. No, I don't see it. No.
Gavin Newsom.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think so. Yeah.
5:06 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arp show, and Zena Hackworth, my good friend, is sitting in for my partner Tim Jones today. That is President Trump opining on the Democrats, who they will possibly line up against him in the 2024 election. Zena, yesterday we played a clip by Ted Cruz where he was saying that he believes Michelle Obama is going to be dropped in at the convention at the last minute, and she will be the nominee for the Democrats. I kind of poo-pooed that because, first of all, Michelle Obama is beloved by African Americans and women especially. And would she want to damage some of her capital, goodwill capital, by being the woman that kind of undercut the first black female vice president? Do you think she would do that?
I would not put it past her because there was a point at which I honestly thought she was going to run 4 years ago or back in 2016. So I would not be surprised if she ran for 2024.
How strong do you think Michelle Obama would be? Could Donald Trump or any Republican beat her in a fall 2024 election?
Not definitely not on policy, but personality. Perhaps she might be able to pull it off.
Zena, that scares me. I usually
It
very
does,
upbeat and positive.
it
I
does,
thought
I
you were
know,
going to be
it-
like, "Oh no, no way."
The Democrats will do anything they can because, from my understanding, she doesn't want to do this. She never has wanted to do this. But, if she has to, I'm sure she would.
She always gave the impression when she was in the White House, especially in the latter years when President Obama was getting criticized heavily, that she could not wait until his term was up, that if he didn't run for a second term, that wouldn't bother her in a minute at all, and that she was ready to go back to private life after the president, that she does not like politics.
Maybe not. We don't really know that. She says that. Who knows why she's saying it? Maybe it is true. Maybe she doesn't like politics.
President Trump, regardless of what you think of him, support him, like him, don't like him. I've made no secret that I was not a supporter of President Trump during 2016. I supported Ted Cruz, but I did vote for him in 2016. I did vote for him in 2020. If he is the nominee this time around, I would vote for him. I am not a Democratic fan whatsoever. But 4 indictments, which is unheralded, unprecedented, and then today another shoe dropped regarding the president's legal troubles. This was a civil case, but a judge in New York yesterday found that the Trump companies had inflated the price of some of their buildings to help with some loans, and so because of that, Zena, the Trump organization's business certificates in New York have been suspended, which, I'm not a financier or anything, but I would think that would be very hard to make money if you don't have a legal business license. What's your thoughts on this? This is just overkill, isn't it?
Well, it is overkill, and it's overkill for a reason, because he wasn't expected to win, as we all know. He was not expected to win in 2016. He did such a phenomenal job in those 4 years. It just threw a wrench into the Democrats, their agenda to destroy our country. So now they're doing everything they can. I think we have to consider where all of this is coming from. New York, which is totally blue, and they're upset with him from changing from Democrat to become a Republican, knowing that if he gets in again, that he's going to stay on the same course that he was before. The nation will start prospering again, and so they don't want that. They want to destroy our nation. So they're going to come after him with everything. There's a scripture in the Bible that says an unequal balance is an abomination. They're going after Trump like crazy, but ignoring the fact that someone left, who knows, left cocaine in the White House, and no one. We can't figure it out. Have you ever been to the White House? Of course they know who it was, especially in that part of the White House. They definitely know who it was. So that's my.
And then I find it curious too about that is they said they couldn't determine fingerprints on the cocaine that was left at the White House, but when it comes to Senator Menendez, they were able to lift fingerprints off of the money that he was
that
allegedly
was handled by how many people?
But they can find fingerprints on
that.
This
is they're doing everything they can to destroy Donald Trump. I would not be surprised if they came out with something else, maybe because his hair is too whatever. They're going to come up with something at every point because they're doing everything they can to keep him from getting into office.
A lot of folks, Zena, including myself, think that this is a plan by the Democrats, by the dark state, deep state, to put all of these crimes on him to make him a martyr among the Republican base so that he will be the nominee. Do you think they are doing this on purpose because they feel they can beat Donald Trump and they want him to be the nominee?
Well, I don't know that they really want him to be the nominee because I've noticed lately I don't hear his name as much as I had been hearing his name before. So I think they realize that it's backfiring on them. So you don't hear his name as much as we used to. So they're looking for someone else in this debate tonight to overtake his lead. But I honestly don't think that. No.
The smart money says that if you have a huge lead like this and you've got everybody on stage will basically be gunning for you, that sit back, let them take each other out.
Right.
Don't become. But does it bother you that, this is a democracy, people aren't coordinated for presidency or for positions, that someone should put their views out there, let us see them debate against the other candidates? Can a feeling of entitlement be taken from that?
I don't think it's a feeling of entitlement. We already know where he stands. So what's the purpose of reinventing the wheel? We know where he stands on issues. We know where he stands on policies.
One issue.
Hold on. Okay. And I think the rest of them, it's up to the rest of them to prove to the rest of us, that they stand where we want them to stand. Okay. The game is for them right now. What point would it be for him to stand there with all the rest of them, knowing that he's going to be in the middle of the stage?
Look at you co-host and tell me, hold on now.
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
Let me do that.
There you go.
Thing.
Now, but one thing that you said, he is clear on the issues, and we all know where he stands. One issue that he has not been clear on recently has been the issue of abortion. And when he had that interview with Kristen Welker, the new moderator of NBC, she was trying to tie him down on where he was when it comes to a federal ban. And he said that he wouldn't give a specific number, but said he would get both sides in a room. They would come to a conclusion that they can all agree with. And he said that the 6-week ban that DeSantis signed and Governor Kemp of Georgia signed was a terrible thing for the Republicans.
Well, I'm wondering what he means by that, only because I think he's pro-life, and I still believe that he's the most pro-life president. But I don't know when he says that, does he mean that it's bad for Republicans because now the Democrats are going to come after them because of the 6-week ban, or does he agree with the 6-week ban?
That's a good point. I personally think he is giving a political answer. Is that if we do this, then this hurts us in elections. I don't think,
suicide, But he is pro-life.
Does that bother you in any sense? Because people are with Donald Trump 100%, but with some people, and especially the Susan B. Anthony list, Marjorie Dannenfeld, who I know and have met several times, and I interviewed her for the show here, where she had some issues with the president kind of being unclear on where he stood on a national ban, because Susan B. Anthony list, they wanted a 15-week ban, and Vice President Pence, that's what he advocates, is a 15-week federal ban.
Yeah, but that's like, you know how large that baby is at that point. So a 15-week ban is still murder at any stage. But what do? We have to change the hearts and minds of the culture, and that's a big uphill battle. But I don't like the idea of a 15-week ban. I think if they have to do it, maybe as a step forward, perhaps, but just to settle on that, I'm not too comfortable.
And
with
you
that.
are a strong pro-life advocate, as I said earlier,
right.
and second abortion,
Second Amendment,
excuse me, not second abortion, Second Amendment as well. And we've seen since the Roe v. Wade decision that a lot of states have been trying to activists have tried to codify abortion into these state constitutions, and we've seen in some red-leaning states they have been successful in doing that. How worried are you in these 2024 elections when we see the economy is terrible? This looks like this should be headwinds for Republicans. How worried are you that abortion and middle-of-the-road Republican women may vote for Biden strictly, or the Democrats strictly, because of the abortion issue?
I don't know that I'm worried about it. Since the Dobbs decision came down, the Dobbs decision was just correcting a badly made decision in the first place. So Right now the Democrats are really good at marketing. They are so good at marketing. They're marketing the death of your own children. So we have to figure out how to counter that. But I don't know that I'm worried about that so much, because there's a great number of people, because I think a lot of people are going to end up settling on the 15 weeks at some point anyway, which will make a lot of those women you're referring to a little more comfortable.
I've always felt, look, I don't want any baby to die.
Right.
All life is precious,
Right.
but unfortunately there is a political calculation that's involved in it.
Right.
And if you don't make that calculation, then you could get Supreme Court justices or politicians that are adamantly against your view, and you end up getting worse than what you originally wanted. So you have to take what you can get, and my belief has always been, as you said earlier, take what you can get and work on changing hearts and minds,
Right.
so that the day can come when abortion is an anathema, and it's in the in the back of people's minds like it used to be, and not something that is just used as a as a contraceptive.
Right, and I think one of the first things we need to do is end taxpayer funding of abortion, because I don't think my dollar as a pro-lifer, as someone who values human life from conception to natural death, as long as you're not trying to harm somebody else,
Right.
I shouldn't have to pay for that. Anyone who's pro-life should not have our tax dollars should not go toward paying to end the life of an unborn innocent child. So I think that is the first step, because we're gonna always have abortion in this country. If you want to kill your own child, if it's legal, just don't make me pay for it.
What I don't understand, Zena, and maybe you can help me understand this because you are a woman, is these women that are pro-choice are so adamant about having the option of abortion that they act like just having the child and give it up for an adoption is just not an option at all. How come they never think about, hey, I don't want this baby, but I'm going to give it a chance to live and get up for adoption? How come that is just not an option for them?
Marketing. I tell you, the left is so good at marketing abortion. They don't want to market anything that has to do with life, because then you've got that child living somewhere else. They want that child dead. So it's just marketing to women. They are marketing death to women, because we are in a culture of death right now.
And I've said this too on this show, that it worries me that you see a lot of African American liberal women have jumped on the abortion bandwagon, and it's almost as to say, look, I can kill my baby too. This makes me just as equal as my white sisters.
Right.
That seems to be the mentality of that.
but-
I'm equal with them. I can kill my baby too.
Right, but what they don't realize is that we end up being more equal, because we are killing sometimes half of our population. Half of the pregnant women are having abortions. So they don't realize that in the white community, they're losing maybe 20%, and we're losing up to 50.
I mean, we've talked about that startling statistic in New York City, your hometown, and I don't know if it's still like that now, but
The
at one
numbers
point,
have switched a little bit, but
right,
not much.
it would, at one point there were more abortions than live births
Right.
among African American
I mean,
women.
those numbers have switched, but my question is, how much does that have to do with the abortion pills as well?
Well,
So
that's
maybe the
not-
numbers are still the same, or just a little bit higher. We don't know it, because they're not going in and physically having surgical procedures done.
Sobering discussion, a issue that is not going away anytime soon, even after Roe v. Wade was overturned. I'm sure we'll talk more about this, and I'm sure this will be a big issue in the 2024 campaign, the presidential campaign, and here nationally, not here in the state, because the governor candidates have been talking about abortion as well. When we come back, we will speak with Bonner Cohen. He's a senior policy analyst with the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow, also a senior fellow at the National Center for Public Policy Research. We'll talk to him about a California lawsuit that says oil giants deceive the public on climate and seeks funds for storm damage. You are listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Like us on Facebook at News Talk STL. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Overnight tonight, low of 63. There's a slim chance for a spot shower in the morning around daybreak. Better chance south of St. Louis. Otherwise, dry and partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 82. And then it's all about heating up towards the weekend. Friday, sunny and 88. Highs will be in the upper 80s again for Saturday and Sunday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
If you find yourself feeling out of place in the world, it's comforting to know conservative values haven't been abandoned everywhere.
But I'm not going to turn my dialogue to you guys. I really like this channel.
This is News Talk STL. Welcome home.
Tim Jones here, going to talk to you about not just one, but two fantastic businesses in our region. Espino's Mexican Grill, Hippo's Cannabis Dispensary, located literally right next door to each other in beautiful Chesterfield Valley at 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road. Espino's Mexican Bar Grill.com, Hippo's Cannabis.com. These two great local small businesses not only are next door neighbors, they work well together as well. You can shop Hippo's on any Tuesday, spend $50 or more, you'll get 2 taco tickets from Espino's with a valid Hippo's lunch ticket. So make sure you visit both of those businesses any and every Tuesday. Hippo's is open noon to 7 p.m. You might even see co-owners and investors Brett Hull, Kelly Chase, and Barrett Jackman at Hippo's. Espino's Mexican Grill, come on, you know Espino's. They've been around nearly 2 decades. Fantastic menu. Great, really cold drinks. They got the margarita garden out in the front. Great place to hang out throughout the week, on the weekends, live music, so much more. 2 great local small businesses located right next door to each other, 17409 Chesterfield Airport Road. If it's a bud tender or a bartender, they've got it all. Hippo's for the bud, Espino's Mexican Grill for the best fresh alternative to just everyday, ordinary Mexican food. Is your portfolio prepared for the biggest risks facing investors today? Hi, it's Tim Jones. High inflation and a rapidly changing economy may impact your investments. If you haven't made appropriate changes, your portfolio may not be positioned to address some of the biggest risks in today's economy. That means it's time to request your free portfolio review from the ClearPath Wealth Management Group at Stifel. You can hear their latest views on the markets and investing during On the Money, hosted by Stifel financial advisors Bob Stockdale and Eric Robert, every Saturday morning at 9 a.m. on News Talk STL 101.9. They can help you get organized, guide you through critical retirement decisions, and create a portfolio designed around your needs. To schedule your free portfolio review, go to clearpathinvesting.com. That's clearpathinvesting.com, or call 636-695-2650. That's clearpathinvesting.com, 636-695-2650. Stifel Nicholas & Company, Incorporated, member SIPC and NYSE.
Facts don't matter. Lies don't matter. You or I lie, we go to jail. She lies.
Mark McCloskey on fire.
You know, it's just part of the business. President lies, it's part of his business. Joe Biden couldn't tell the truth if he could remember it. And then you got Hunter Biden, you know, because he's a drug addict, because he's a gun criminal, because, you know, posts pictures of himself with hookers and crack pipes and all that kind of stuff. Now that makes him somehow wonderful.
Mark McCloskey on fire. Sundays at 5 on News Talk STL. This hour of Jones and Arps is brought to you by Stifel. Contact your Stifel financial advisor at stifel.com. That's STIFEL.com.
Mustang Sally.
Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
5:27 on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Zena Hackworth sitting in for my partner Tim Jones today. You know, Zena, last weekend I went to Phoenix for see Dallas Cowboys lose to the Phoenix Cardinals, unfortunately. And, you know, we're very lucky here in the Midwest because gas prices are fairly reasonable. I think gas was $3.40, $3.50 when I left. Gas in Phoenix is $4.68 for a regular unleaded. Very, very high. And the reason I bring that up is because our next guest, Bonner Cohen, is going to talk about an AP story about California is suing oil giants because they say they deceive the public on climate. Mr. Cohen, welcome to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show.
Well, thank you very much for having me, and congratulations for opening the show with Mustang South.
Thank you, thank you. All right.
Wilson Pickett.
Was that good? Bring back good memories for you?
Oh, indeed it does.
All right.
Song.
This lawsuit in California, they're saying that the oil companies deceived them. You know, my spidey sense basically says that oil companies make billions, they're very wealthy, that this is a cash grab by California.
Yeah, it's funny. The governor of California, Gavin Newsom, recently declared in response to all sorts of complaints about rising crime in many of California's major cities, Los Angeles, San Francisco, Oakland, going to crack down on smash and grab. Well, actually, he's carrying out a smash and grab himself, along with the other state officials who are suing 6 oil companies, saying that their activities have caused a global warming that has wreaked so much havoc in California and elsewhere. So that's, in my view, a smash and grab on their part. What they're really trying to do is, first of all, shake the companies down for a lot of money, and secondly, divert attention away from their own complete mismanagement of California's natural resources. California does have a lot of what we can call weather-related problems, such as wildfires that are sparked by the state's arid or semi-arid climate. You have high, gusty winds. These are ideal conditions for wildfires. If somebody tosses away a cigarette or does something else foolish, or there's a lightning strike or what have you. Well, rather than take responsibility for not having thinned out dead and diseased trees, which are all over the state, nor having built a single reservoir in the state since 1978, never mind that the population has doubled since 1978, water that could be used in those reservoirs to provide much-needed water during times of drought. They've done none of that, nor have they bothered to bury power lines underground in areas that are prone to wildfires, because power lines can lead to wildfire spreading. Instead of doing any of that, they're claiming, in the absence of any evidence whatsoever, that the oil companies, by producing fossil fuels, are leading to, are precipitating global climate change, and that is the reason behind all the suffering that Californians have undergone the past couple of decades, when the real problems do not lie with the oil companies, they lie with the powers that be in Sacramento.
Bonner, is this case loosely kind of based on the AG's case against Big Tobacco, where they said that the tobacco companies knew that their products were harmful? They hid the evidence all of these years, and that's why they were able to win these multi-billion-dollar suits. Is this similar to those cases?
Yeah, I think the tobacco suit certainly provided the template for that. And whereas in the tobacco suit, I think the tobacco companies have been less than honest over the decades about the health effects of cigarette smoking. In the case of the oil companies, and for that matter, agriculture, being responsible for global warming and the climate crisis that they say is upon us, there is zero evidence of that, none whatever. Temperatures today are, yes, they're about 1.5 degrees higher than they were 150 years ago, but that's simply the planet rebounding from the Little Ice Age, which lasted from 1400 to 1850, and was a time when temperatures were much colder than now. More importantly, atmospheric levels of carbon dioxide, CO2, were much lower than now. What you don't want, if you want to feed 8 billion people in the world, which is the world's population today, you don't want low levels of atmospheric CO2, because that's absolutely necessary for plant life, including crops. And without crops, you can't feed the world's population.
Speaking with Bonner Cohen, he's a senior policy analyst with the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow and senior fellow at the National Center for Public Policy Research. Bonner, I have to ask you, what are the possibilities of this case being successful? I know across the river here in Madison County, Illinois, a lot of suits are brought here because it's a casino basically, and you can win. Does this case have a chance of winning?
It may well, because officials in California who brought the lawsuit were prudent enough to bring the suit in state court. So if the oil companies lose in court, they, of course, have the right to appeal. But that appeal would go to the California Supreme Court rather than the U.S. Supreme Court. I don't think the U.S. Supreme Court, as it is currently composed, would go along with this, and I think they would throw it out. The California Supreme Court is a whole different kettle of fish. Democratic governors have appointed just about everybody who is on there. It's heavily stacked to the left, so there's a good chance that decision will result in the oil companies being shaken down. There may be some sort of a legal channel that would eventually lead to an appeal to the U.S. Supreme Court. That remains to be seen. But sadly, what goes down in California frequently doesn't stay in California, and I think there's a real possibility of copycat lawsuits around the country. In fact, some have already been filed in New York, New Jersey, Massachusetts, and you mentioned across the river in Illinois. There are something like 150 smaller municipalities around the country who are also trying to shake the money tree that they know that the fossil fuels companies are, all under the guise of protecting their citizens from man-made climate change, which is actually a complete fiction.
Named in the suit, Bonner, are ExxonMobil, Shell, Chevron, ConocoPhillips, and BP. What is their defense are they giving to this lawsuit?
Well, that will be interesting because these companies typically have not done a good job of standing up for their own industry. And now that they have the financial equivalent of a Magnum 357 pointed at them, they're going to have to really defend their industry. And where they can be most effective, I think, is actually challenging the prevailing narrative behind all of this, namely that man-made emissions of greenhouse gases are contributing or indeed causing global climate change, when as a matter of fact, the term climate change is redundant. Climates always change, and there have been times in the Earth's history, and relatively speaking recent history, when temperatures were much warmer than they are today, such as during the Middle Ages, as well as during the time of the Roman Empire, and that we are today actually in a relatively stable climate. We have, contrary to what you can possibly hear in the mainstream media, we have fewer hurricanes today than we had 100 years ago. We have fewer tornadoes than we had 100 years ago. The warmest decade in recent times was actually in the 1930s, and since then, temperatures have been, on average, lower than that. So if they will attack the underlying narrative of the whole thing, I think their chances would be better. The problem is they will be doing this in California courts, and it could well turn out to be a rigged game.
Speaking with Bonner Cohen, Senior Policy Analyst with Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow and Senior Fellow at the National Center for Public Policy Research. Bonner, there was a big story a few years ago out of East Anglia University in the United Kingdom. That was supposed to be the premier university on climate research and change. WikiLeaks broke into their servers, stole some of their emails, showed that they were fudging the data and that global warming was made up. That story seems to have completely disappeared, been scrubbed from the internet. Simple question for you, why? And explain to those who may not be that familiar with that story what exactly happened.
What happened was emails that had gone back and forth between people that we were told were climate experts. And these were people beating the drums for the argument that man-made emissions of greenhouse gases were leading to a potentially catastrophic warming of the planet. Well, it turns out that these people's own research didn't show that. And because their research didn't show that, and they were still on board with the whole argument, because, quite frankly, a lot of money is behind that, the people who fund climate research, both at the government level and at the foundation level, had bought into this, and they knew if they didn't produce the goods, they were in trouble. So what they did among themselves is say how they could fudge the data in this way or in that way so as to come up with the desired result. They can do that either through so-called climate models, which can be easily manipulated.
Oh, wow. I think looks like we may have lost Bonner there. Wow, he was right in the middle of that, telling us what happened with that story with Bonner Cohen there. Zena, that's what happens in radio sometimes. You actually lose people. But, yeah, that was a huge scandal. WikiLeaks, a lot of people have negative things to say about them, breaking into government computers and all that. Right. But they had the goods on that East Anglia University. They stole those emails, and it showed they were fudging data, making up stuff, saying that the planet is not warming. And it's very difficult. It's still on the internet, but it's very, very difficult to find that stuff, and they don't talk much about it anymore. They try
to hide it. So
exactly. Well, we've tried to get Bonner Cohen back. If we can't get him back, we'll go to break. Come back. We'll have one last section. Go ahead, Zena.
I just wanted to say, whenever people talk to me about climate change, I tell them in my area the climate changes 4 times a year: winter, spring, summer, and fall.
Exactly. So. Do you think that that man has affected climate at all? A little bit, or is this just
I don't,
seasons?
No, I think everything is just, I think it's just within the natural course of time.
All right, we've got Bonner back. How are you, sir?
Fine. Someone tried to interfere.
It was the Russians.
Someone tried to silence.
Exactly. So go ahead and finish there.
Yeah. The point that you were making it's a very good one. Suddenly that story has disappeared. It's disappeared for a reason. The games that these people at East Anglia University and their contacts around the world did not make them look good. It showed what a scam was being perpetrated on the public at large. That was contrary to the narrative that they wanted to put forward. So the mainstream media, to the extent that it covered it to begin with, quickly moved on to something else. And sure enough, a hurricane or a tornado or a drought or a flood, whatever it was, came along, and then they could comfortably return to the kinds of things that they really wanted to report on. The media have largely bought into all of this. Some of them have been duped, but I would argue that some of them really wanted to be duped because they lacked the intellectual curiosity and the journalistic integrity to dig into this and find out what is true and what is not true. So I don't think you can look to the mainstream media for any kind of a fairly objective reporting on this, because that's just contrary to what they think is their job, which is not to report, but rather to spread a certain view of things that upon closer inspection is at variance with reality.
Bonner, you wrote a book back in 2006 titled The Green Wave, Environmentalism and Its Consequences. 17 years later, what did you get right?
17 years later, the situation has actually gotten far worse. The environmental movement is much more powerful today than it was then. The systematic infiltration of our institutions, that is government bureaucracies at all levels, along with our schools, in many cases our churches, very important corporate boardrooms have figured out how they can make money on providing alternative energy or alternative building materials which are said to be climate friendly. And what we have is a very tiny segment of the population, very well connected, very well heeled, imposing its peculiar, and I might add, skewed vision of the world on the rest of us. You mentioned the price of gasoline. Well, it's going up for a whole bunch of reasons, and one of the reasons it's going up is that the Biden administration is fundamentally hostile to gasoline-powered vehicles and is now force-feeding the American public a diet of electric vehicles, EVs, which most Americans don't want, much less can afford.
Exactly.
And so, and all of this is being done in the name of protecting us from catastrophic climate change. This is very bad. It's grotesquely dishonest, and it's also going to be regressive because the higher energy prices that we're going to be paying to heat our homes in winter, cool them in summers, and provide personal transportation, that's going to hit middle and lower income people much harder. Leonardo DiCaprio is going to be fine. Don't worry about him. Don't worry about John Kerry. He married his money by marrying the heiress to the Heinz tomato ketchup fortune. Those people are going to make out fine. But what about the rest of us?
Bonner, it was great talking to you. As always, you are the Senior Policy Analyst with the Committee for a Constructive Tomorrow and Senior Fellow at the National Center for Public Policy Research. Your book, The Green Wave, Environmentalism and Its Consequences, can be sought at Amazon.com. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
All right. Well, thank you for having me. I enjoyed it.
Appreciate it. Bonner Cohen, boy, he was deep there.
Yes.
Hard to believe that California is going to try to sue the oil companies and shake them down.
Who would have thunk it?
Who would have thunk it? They're already running businesses out of California. People are moving. You know, the one thing that I heard over and over and over from when I was in Phoenix is, are you from here? They say that to you the first time they meet you. And my friend was telling me that people ask that because a lot of people from California have moved out of there to Arizona, Phoenix. So interesting. When we come back, one last segment on the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. You're listening to 101.9 94.1 News Talk STL.
Dropping truth bombs and making you think. It's the Tim Jones and Chris Arps show. From the Michaels Flooring Outlet Weather Center.
I'm First Alert 4 Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton. Overnight tonight, low of 63. There's a slim chance for a spot shower in the morning around daybreak. Better chance south of St. Louis. Otherwise dry and partly cloudy in the afternoon with a high of 82. And then it's all about heating up towards the weekend. Friday, sunny and 88. Highs will be in the upper 80s again for Saturday and Sunday. That's the latest First Alert forecast. I'm Chief Meteorologist Steve Templeton.
On the next,
Larry Connors, USA.
Wuhan scientists are saying there might be another coronavirus outbreak. Real news, fake news, be concerned, or again?
Larry Connors, USA. Now, weeknights 6 until 8 on News Talk STL.
Hey, Tony Colombo here for Gutter Pros. When Christine and I bought our new house, we knew the gutters were an issue, and after meeting the Gutter Pros team, we knew that they were right for us. Gutter Pros is your all-in-one gutter service team that offers a variety of affordable solutions, and they even offer free estimates, so there's no cost to you to find out if they are right for your home, just like they were for ours. If you're having a problem with your gutters, contact the Gutter Pros now, because with Gutter Pros, water goes where they tell it to. Call them at 314-656-7195 or visit gutterpros.com.
News Talk STL is proud to have Doug Voss of Safe Money Radio as part of our lineup each week. Doug has been a staple on St. Louis radio for many years as one of the leading financial experts in the area. Doug and Safe Money Radio is on 3 times every weekend, but in case you miss anything, you can check it all out at DougVossSafeMoneyRadio.com or call 844-676-SAFE. That's 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through DHL Securities, LLLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
How's your health care? Insured but afraid to use it because of high copays and deductibles? You wait weeks for a few minutes with your doctor? It's Dr. Randy Tobler, and I struggle with the same issues as both patient and doc. You want to know that you're the focus, not the billing codes or faceless denial experts at insurance skyscrapers, which is why I've decided there's a better way. At Body of Health Direct Primary Care, you'll receive timely and time-rich appointments in person or virtually, whichever fits your needs and schedule, along with hundreds of free medications, transparent and truly affordable labs, and most importantly, a trusting relationship. We'll dig deep for solutions to problems and fill you with holistic coaching to minimize the need for high-powered medicine or specialty care. Now, if you need that, I'll work with specialists to streamline that journey too. And if it's prenatal care, hormonal, or sexual health that's bugging you, I'm board certified in women's health. Want a Body of Health? Get to know us at bodyofhealth.com. That's bodyofhealth.com.
I'm Dr. TJ, owner of the Institute of Natural Health, co-owner of Optimal Nutraceuticals, and the host of Wellness 101. Wellness 101 is designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you common sense, science-based information regarding health and wellness. On the show, we discuss topics like thyroid health, gut health, hormone optimization, and many others. Our show airs Saturdays at 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. and Sundays at 11 a.m. and 3 p.m. right here on News Talk STL. For more information, visit us at inhstl.com. That's inhstl.com.
This hour of Jones and Arps brought to you by Window World. Simply the best for less. 314-993-1800 or visit windowworld.com. Like and subscribe to us on Rumble. News Talk STL.
Hey, welcome back to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show. Joey, is that chocolate milk? That is a gross.
Close enough. Hot chocolate.
Hot chocolate. Same thing. Chocolate milk, hot chocolate. See, and you remember that. You think they played that at your prom, didn't they?
I don't remember
that. Came out about mid-70s, early 70s, I think.
I'm not that old.
Yeah, the big sister that I never wanted. You know, Zena, we talked about it off air. You had mentioned about where did the riot happen, where the people went through the department stores?
Philadelphia?
Was it Philadelphia? And I was telling you, I was like, look, you've seen one, you've seen them all now, it seems, but you said this one was really, really bad, because I haven't seen any video of it.
Yeah, it looked pretty bad. They were inviting people to come in. I think Joey saw it as well.
It looked like one of those flash mob type things where people coordinate together, like they can't catch all of us, but then they're all filming their stuff.
Right. There's a woman that's standing there with her phone.
Get famous.
She's filming everything, and
God.
she's talking.
She had a
about
ski
it.
mask on, though, right?
No.
She had a hairnet on.
Yeah, she had something on her head. But
I think her username was Meatball. And she looked so sad because she got arrested. She was so happy on the video, and then the next shot you see in the news articles how sad she is in her mugshot.
And I didn't understand why people were stealing all those iPhones, because iPhones are locked. How do you get into them once you steal them?
I think, though, can't you change the chip out or do something? I mean, as valuable as they are, I can see why people would steal them.
I don't think you can. I think Apple has that locked up, the phone. So, but maybe you can. I don't know.
You know, someone always makes a funny joke whenever there are flash mobs when they steal out of stores, that you don't ever see, like, a place that sells work boots. You don't ever see those being taken and stolen, do you? Or like flannel work shirts or overalls. Those, for some reason, they stay on the shelves. But the Nike and the Jordans, They take off very quickly.
Well, they got to feed their families.
That is the excuse that they always.
That is the excuse.
You know, Zena, we talked about this the other day. There is a new deterrent to these flash mobs, and I thought it was a brilliant idea because I was always wondering how in the heck do you stop this? You know, they're outnumbered. They come in quick. There's this new product that comes out. It's called it's a fog. And whenever there's theft or something detected, fog just completely comes out of these vents. It engulfs the whole store, so it gets you disoriented. You can't see anything. You don't know where you're at. And the whole premise behind it is you can't take what you can't see, right?
Well, I don't see that working.
Oh, you should see a picture of it. Seriously, it completely engulfs the store.
I guess the reason why I say that is that people without sight, if they want to do something, they're going to be able to figure out how to do it. So that's why I say I don't think, you know, and I'm sure that you can teach someone how to. People can learn how to work their way when they can't see it.
I think once you're in a store and something like that happens, you're probably not thinking something like that will happen. Foam or fog will come out. I think you're just going to be on a mission, just get the heck out of there.
Well,
and you can't because all of that's going to be coming in there, and you're going to be running into things and just hurt yourself, and you know.
I mean, I guess that's the point, perhaps, but I don't know that it would always happen that way because people have a memory. If you can't see anything, they're going to remember. A lot of people can remember which way they've come in and just leave the same way.
Joy, you are our entertainment, music type person. I want to get your thoughts on the settlement that was released about the writers Guild.
The writers so far.
And they didn't get fully what they wanted. They didn't want the movie companies to be able to train AI on scripts that they have worked on. They will be able to do some of it, but not as extensive as they want. Looking back 20 years from now, will we say that agreement basically ended writers for Hollywood and AI is going to write the majority of the scripts in 20 years, and we can look back and say this was the beginning of the end when the writers agreed to that?
I don't know. I feel like whenever you turn AI into learning mode, it just gets more racist, right? It just gathers everything that's ever been said on the internet, and then it becomes racist. So I think we may have more blaxploitation films to look forward to, maybe?
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen some good Superfly. And,
I know, right?
Yeah. Wow.
But I think humor is so incredibly nuanced that you just can't get a robot to teach it, especially if it's timely. Like writing late-night talk show jokes the day after something happens. I just can't imagine that being in the hands of AI.
But AI is evolving so quickly.
I know.
I mean, they're saying the latest AI thing, a month later, it's already advanced 2 or 3 times from that already. Go ahead, Jim.
For the first time, we watched iRobot for the first time. I know this has been out for a long time.
Decades.
We watched it out for the first time the other day, and I thought, this is what's going on today. So,
also announced ChatGPT, the company no one heard of a year ago, is thinking about doing a public offering. The company is valued at $80 to $90 billion. $80 to $90 billion, ChatGPT. So AI is here to stay. What bothers me now is they put it in everything. If you go to LinkedIn and if you want to post something on LinkedIn, it's already got like an AI thing already prompted there for you to, write your post. It's like, I don't need to write post saying happy birthday. Thank you, but no thank you. But they're incorporating it into everything. And I'm fearful that our schools already aren't teaching our kids what they need to learn, and with AI, that kids aren't going to be able to put together paragraphs and stories anymore. They're not going to be able to write, and that's not a good thing.
Right.
Just all in hashtags.
Right. Right. And they won't be able to do cursive either. So write, read, anything.
That's crazy.
But they'll know what 72 genders plus would be.
We're going to have a whole generation of kids who are going to be writing their signatures on driver's licenses in block letters instead of cursive, which is going to be really sad. Zena, thank you for hanging out with me today. Always appreciate you being here. You are the big sister that I never wanted. Can't wait to have you back on again. Stay tuned to Larry Connors from 6 to 8. Larry's going to talk about Tucker Carlson's story on child sacrifice. So you, of course, are want to listen to Larry Connors USA. You've been listening to the Tim Jones and Chris Arps Show on 101.9, 94.1 News Talk STL. Drive safe.
Investment advisory and financial planning services offered through Simplicity Wealth, LLC, SEC registered investment advisor. Insurance, consulting, and education services offered through Serenity Wealth Management.
Are you or someone you know providing or managing care for a loved one today? Did you know there could be more cost-efficient solutions for funding long-term care, even those currently living in a skilled care facility today? Financial strategist and long-term care specialist Chris Cooper of Serenity Wealth Management can show you tax-efficient strategies available to help your family manage care concerns. Whether planning for the future or managing care for a loved one today, solutions exist to provide the financial peace of mind you deserve.
Hi, I'm Chris Cooper, and I'd love to send you a free copy of my new book, A CPA's Guide to Tax-Free Strategies for Long-Term Care. You'll learn about strategies to empower you and your family, protect your savings, and make sure your loved ones get the quality of care they deserve.
Request your free copy of Chris's book by visiting SerenityLTC.com. That's SerenityLTC.com.
Getting a new floor for your home can be intimidating and a little scary, but that's not the case when you go to Michael's Flooring Outlet. Katie here, and my mom and dad used Michael's, and they had a great experience. They've been a locally owned and operated family business for more than 30 years. You want variety? Michael's has carpet, hardwood, laminate, ceramic tile, luxury vinyl, natural stone, and many other options. Shop in-store at one of their 3 locations in Creve Coeur, Dardine Prairie, or St. Peters. Check out everything that Michael's has to offer at igotfloored.com.